let's go ahead and move on to the next section. Okay, so go down your page just a little bit and look at the section that says with polynomials. Now there's two parts to the instructions now. Okay, the first part of the instruction says simplify the following. Well, we know what that means. Look up at the top of your paper. We said at the top of the paper that that meant make sure there are no more common factors. But instead of just having numbers and letters, now we started adding in this add. Here we see some adding next, and we're actually going to have to do a little bit of factoring. For today and tomorrow, and maybe Wednesday too, I'll help you with some of that factoring. Okay, I want you to focus on canceling out all the common factors that you can. Well, x squared plus x. What's that equal to? Let's just start off by simplifying. Okay, now when we simplify, we need to get all our common factors. So first I'm going to split up x squared into xx. And to finish off the line, that plus x will just be the same, plus x. On the bottom, we have x plus 1. Okay, now this step right here is when we're going to try to find our restrictions. Okay, but we're going to come back to it later and just focus on what we've learned so far, okay, what we learned from before. Look at this top line. Okay, see what we can figure out as far as stuff that we can factor out. What does it look like is in common for the first half and the second half? Well, I see x's everywhere, right? You see them too. Okay, two x's at the beginning, multiplying each other, one x at the end. Okay, well, remember when we did this? We circled everything that was in common in both parts. So I see one x in the front and one x in the back. So I'm going to write that outside or in front of my parentheses. Okay, so this x that I circled is now what I'm writing in front. Well, think about what's left. Okay, well, with the first part, there's still one more x that we haven't used, so we can go ahead and write that in. The second half, now we have to think about what's left there. Okay, well, we took away the only x that was there, so what was in front of the x? Well, we used to have a 1 that was in front of there, so we can still have our plus. And since we took away that x, all that's left is plus 1. And all of this on the bottom just gets to stay exactly as it was. Okay. Now, we need to simplify. Simplify, cancel out any common factors. Well, this right here, x plus 1 on the top, seems very similar to this x plus 1 that's on the bottom. So I can cancel that out, and I can cancel that out. Well, what's left? All that's left, after I cross out this x plus 1 and this x plus 1, is just x. That's all that's left when I simplify. After I simplify, my final answer is just x, because everything else canceled out. Now the second half of this problem is state any restrictions. State any restrictions. Okay, restrictions are stuff that you're not allowed to have. Now in a fraction, we haven't talked about this very much, but the bottom of a fraction is not allowed to be equal to 0. Okay? You're allowed to do stuff like 0 divided by 3. That's okay. That's just equal to 0. You're allowed to do stuff like 2 divided by 1. That's okay. That's just 2. But whenever you do something like 3 divided by 0, that's not okay. Okay? That will mess your calculator up. Okay, so what do we do when we can't have something on the bottom of our fraction? Well, we have to state it as a restriction. Now, this is going to be very easy, so I want you to pay very close attention. All right, again, this is very easy, so please pay close attention to this part. Anything that you have on the bottom, what we're going to do is we'll say there's a restriction at, and then what we need to do is to solve a little equation, okay? Well, we say there's a restriction if the bottom is equal to 0. So where's our restriction? Our restriction is at x plus 1 equals 0. Well, okay, we need to solve this for x. So how do we solve this for x? You can subtract 1 from both sides. So there's a restriction at, well, subtract 1. And over here, I'll write the answer. At x equals 0 minus 1, negative 1. So there's two parts to this answer. Okay, the one part is that when we simplify, we cancel everything out, and we get our final answer right there of x. The second half is stating any restrictions. Okay, this is what's highlighted in yellow. The restrictions are what makes the denominator equal to 0. So we say there's a restriction at x equals negative 1, because when I plug that into the equation, that'll make the bottom equal 0.